Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
So, yep, they're both up, YouTube and Facebook right now. Um, we're all alone though. I feel lonely.
Give everybody a minute.
Oh, okay.
They may show up.
So
Maybe.
maybe we should talk about some things since no one else is here right now.
Okay, like what?
I don't know. Like Shabbat
Oh,
Shalom.
there's somebody. Shalom.
Somebody's
Shabbat
there.
Shalom. That's two.
Oh, there's two on here.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom,
Shalom,
Keith.
All right. And I see a 2 over there.
I know.
Maybe they
I don't
could
know who though.
click chat and they could, like if you hover over the picture and you
Who's
click
on
chat, you could tell
YouTube?
us who you are. Diana's there. Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
Diana.
Shalom, Diana.
We got, all right. Uh-oh. Connection is unstable.
Please wait while we try reconnecting.
Okay, so we'll take a little pause. How are you guys doing?
Back.
Back?
Yeah,
Okay.
looks like it.
Hey, let us know. Shabbat Shalom, Lena's
Shabbat
joined
Shalom,
us.
Lena.
All right.
And Emmy, because I hope you're in the background too.
Oh, Ted Corley's over there.
Shabbat Shalom, Ted.
And Linda, if she's there with
And
you.
Linda, yes. How are you guys doing?
Sent some invites. All right. Like my new hat? Look. Stylish.
And don't
my
forget
new
the shirt.
Right? I think it's my color.
That's why I told you to get that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't want to wait too long, right?
No.
We're not going to start with music. I hope that when we do this, you have your own favorite worship music to get you in the right mindset, to give you kavanah, focus towards God. Before we start, I know you all have your favorite music, right? I could put some music, some playlists maybe up on my side if you want, like some for Messianic Judaism. But I can't play them for the service because it would be copyright infringement. So that would be wrong.
Yes, it would be.
We're doing great. Oh, awesome. That's good to hear.
Good to hear.
Okay. And so let's go ahead and dive in a little bit. We'll take it nice and slow. I like to see responses,
Yes.
So that would be good. Oh, there's Nancy Carl's joining us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Acharei Hatzaharayim Tov.
Ken.
Good afternoon. Okay. And I think I want to start. I was on Facebook the other day, and there's a place where a group of rabbis get together and discuss things. And one of the questions came up from someone, which was dealing with 2 Samuel 8:18. And you might want to look that up. 2 Samuel 8:18. It's about, I could say like gas or something. I don't think, it's possible somebody could know what this is about. But if you look at 2 Samuel 8:18, maybe then you can guess what the question dealt with. So let's see if Kathy can figure that out. What do you think? Give you a chance to, hey, Angie, Shabbat Shalom. Angie's there. Good to see you, sort of, I mean, it is good, but to sort of see you, because we just see your name is all. Okay, so what does this say? Can you read it? 2 Samuel 8:18.
Benayahu, the son of Jehoiada, was in charge of the Kereti and Peleti, serving as the king's bodyguards, and David's sons were Kohanim.
And David's sons were Kohanim. Okay, so what tribe did David come from? I'm scanning. Tell me if you know, what tribe did David come from? There's like a 10-second delay or something, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Between 10 and 13.
What does Kathy think? What tribe did David come from?
Mm.
Emmy says aloha. No, it wasn't the
Aloha, I
Aloha tribe. Oh, she's saying
yes,
because the
you've got
Hawaiian
your
shirt.
Hawaiian shirt and hat on.
Aloha. And so the end here, David's sons were Kohanim. Kohanim is Hebrew for what?
Priests.
Priests, yeah. And what tribe was David from? Uh-oh. So here we come. Oh, somebody said Benjamin, but no. And Lena followed suit, Benjamin. Shabbat Shalom, Zimra's there.
Yay,
So,
Shabbat Shalom.
David came from the tribe, Shaul came from the tribe of Benjamin, but David came from the tribe of
Joseph?
Yehuda, yeah, Yehuda. Zimra got it. Hey, Sharik Kaslasi has joined us. Shabbat Shalom. And so what's the problem here then? David's sons were Kohanim, it says. And that's what the Hebrew, straight from the Hebrew,
Mhm.
says Kohanim. What's the problem there? Anyone? Who are supposed to be Kohanim?
Levites.
Well, all the Levites? First of all, that's
No.
right. That's correct. It's not any tribe, but only from the tribe of the Leviim,
Mhm.
the Levites, but not even all of them, right? The sons of
Right.
Aharon.
Right.
So were David's sons descended from Aharon?
Not if he's from the tribe of Judah.
Not if he's from the tribe of Yehuda, right? Julius, Shabbat Shalom. And so, so there's a problem here. Is the scripture reliable? Uh-oh. What's going on? Why did everyone allow this? How could David's sons be priests, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the question.
Good
So how
question.
can David's sons be Kohanim is the question. If you look through some different interpretations, and feel free to chime in if you think really you have a good answer or something. But if you look at different interpretations, Complete Jewish Bible will say Kohanim.
Mhm.
The Tanakh will say priests. The King James Version will say chief rulers. And the New American Standard will say chief ministers.
Hmm.
But is that correct? Is that a correct interpretation of the Hebrew Kohanim? Right? Well, the president of our group, Ruel Schuster Dillon, Rabbi Raul Schuster Dillon, says that would be translated according to how we generally understand it as a priest, but others have suggested that the meaning priest, meaning priest, the Hebrew word has a different context in this passage and should be understood as an official. Cohen literally means one who officiates. And that would be fitting this context. So that was one possible answer, but there's nothing really backing it up right here, but it's a possible answer. So we might look into that a little bit. Someone else said, another rabbi said, Ken McNeil, who came to visit us, great guy.
Mhm.
Quick confirmation and insight in addition to the Hebrew word Cohen being translated as priest, it can also be translated as chief official or chief minister, like JPS. Apparently he said that. After subduing the Philistines, Moab, etc., David appointed his sons to help him run things as chief ministers. Both kings and priests were anointed into their positions. As ministers, directly under the king, it's believed that these types of high officials were anointed as the priests were, and thus shared the title of Kohen. Kohen. Come to think of it, this appears to be somewhat a foreshadow of Yeshua, who was king, prophet, and priest, right?
Mhm.
Living, the TLV says chief ministers, Keith says.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. So I chimed in, I said, nice, thank you. What you said is somewhat verified by the TWOT. This is one of the chief lexicons, which says the underlying verbal root of Kohen does not appear in the Tanakh and is of unknown etymology. In light of its early secular usage, the idea of Kohen might be of, quote, serving as a minister. Okay, serving as a minister. Now you think minister in a religious sense, but minister has other senses. Minister of defense,
Mm-hmm.
right? Minister of education. In the United States, we call them secretary of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in England, for example, minister of this, minister of that. So I said, perhaps minister is a better translation. Now, all priests are ministers, but not all ministers are priests.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you are sitting out there. This is boring. Why are you talking about this for? But right. But what's the point? The point. Remember where we started from. People could look at this passage and say something's wrong with the Bible here. This is a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can I believe the Bible? It says you're supposed to be, the priests are supposed to come from Aaron, and here David's appointing his sons. What's going on? Something's wrong, right? And so this is what's going on. They're appointed as ministers to help run the country, along with many others, if you read the context of this passage. I have another one. Someone asked, is Melchizedek Yeshua or Shem? Or Shem. Has anyone heard this? That he was Shem? You remember who's Shem? Remember Shem?
One of Chava and Adam's children. No.
No, you're going back a little too far. It sounds close to one of those people.
Yeah.
Noah, one of Noah's
Noah,
sons,
right? Yeah.
Mhm. So you have Japhet goes up into Europe in the north, and Ham goes down to the south, and you've got Shem in the middle there, the Middle East and out to the east. Psalm 110 text, and I think it's Psalm 110:4, I believe, if I'm entirely remembering correctly. Maybe you can look that up for me. Psalm 110 text says that he is a Kohen forever. A Kohen forever, this Melchizedek. On the manner of Melchizedek is what the Hebrew would indicate.
Yes. It's 110:4.
110:4, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Al divrati Melchizedek, on the manner of Melchizedek. It's a comparison. Notice on the manner of, it's a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Okay. If I were writing, then I wouldn't compare myself to me.
No.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
That would be weird.
Yes.
In Greek, it says kataten taxin Melchizedek, which is according to the nature of Melchizedek, or possibly the fixed succession of order of Melchizedek. Now, that first one that says according to the nature of Melchizedek, that possibility matches the Hebrew better, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the order. Well, the second matches the context of Hebrews 7 very well, which also speaks of a comparison. Hebrews talks about a comparison of Melchizedek to Yeshua in chapters 5 and 6 and 7, right? So it's pretty important. Namely, that we read of no successive order for his priesthood. We read of no successive order. And that's where there's a similarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking maybe the author of Hebrews noted this nuance in the Greek, that it could mean these two different things, and right, either for nature or manner, and used it for some wordplay that was in line with the text and with the context. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Did that make sense to you? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh good. In any case, it's always written as a comparison. And while you might compare an orange to an apple, or even to another orange, you don't generally compare an orange to itself.
No.
Do you see what I'm
It
saying?
makes no sense.
Unless it's over a period of time or a different
Right.
environment or something. But you generally don't compare an orange to itself. You at least compare it to another orange, if not to an apple or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shem, on the other hand, Shem actually outlived Avraham. If you look back at the genealogies and the listings, it tells how long each person lives. Shem actually outlives Avraham. That's amazing, right?
Yep.
And Nevertheless, there is no biblical, so that means it's possible, could have been Shem, but there's no biblical evidence for that. Okay? No biblical evidence or archaeological evidence to support his ever being a king at all, let alone being this particular king. Doesn't negate the possibility, all right? Merely confirms that it's entirely speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? All right. Let's go on. Someone suggested that it could not be Yeshua because he's already come once. And, I agree with the Melchizedek thing. It's like a shadow of, Melchizedek is like a shadow of Messiah, someone to be compared to Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a great point, but I don't know. Not talking about reincarnation, we're talking about in a different form, Angel Adonai or Angel of Adonai, who came and wrestled with Jacob, who looked out from the column of fire at the Egyptians and threw them into terror. It says Adonai did in the text, but no one's seen the Father,
No.
right? Who else? What else? 70 of the elders went up in the mountain and they saw Adonai.
Mm-hmm. Abraham in the desert, when the
Abraham
three
in the
people
desert,
came
the
to
three
visit.
people. And one text it says they were people, not three men. Another,
Mhm.
and you keep going within the same text. It calls them malachim, angels.
Mhm.
And another area in the text is Adonai that's there talking to him,
Mhm.
right? Which is it, right? And you have to wonder who was in the fire with Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael. Who's Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael? For everyone watching, right?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Ah, okay. And Daniel, who do you see riding on the clouds up to the throne,
Mhm.
right? So does he appear? Many say that's Yeshua, and so to be not reincarnated, not that he's reincarnated or
No.
something. It's before he was ever incarnated. Pre-incarnation would be the
Mhm.
terminology. Other people within Judaism resort to, when they see this person, they say it's Metatron, right? And we've talked about Metatron before, so no need to get into that. So, so I don't know if it weren't for the text talking about Melchizedek, if it weren't for the context and the verbiage indicating that it's a comparison,
Mhm.
then who knows? Then who would know? But he's a king, an earthly king, so that's a clue, right?
Mhm.
As well. All right. In case you're not getting this clearly, I'm not endorsing reincarnation. Everybody get that?
Mhm. Got it.
Not endorsing reincarnation. Okay. So, and I've been getting questions about reincarnation these days. So I made a post about it, but let me cover it really briefly. Reincarnation is not biblical, and it's not really mentioned in the Bible. There's a text in Job that sort of dances around, but in context, it's not talking about reincarnation.
Mhm.
It's not even mentioned in the Talmud. It didn't even appear in Judaism until the 8th century AD, and that was among the Karaites, who it seems were influenced by Islamic mystics. Okay, it's not embraced by any major messianic organization at all. Today, it's kind of prevalent among the Kabbalists, and you can see it in Chabad
Mhm.
sometimes, but it appears in the Zohar, which was produced when the Zohar produced 13th century AD. So, despite some claims for earlier authorship, it's not until the 13th century. Maimonides, Rambam, maybe you've heard that name, right? You've heard it.
Yes.
Never even mentioned it. And he lived in the 12th century. You'd think if it was floating around in the world of Judaism in the 12th century, Rambam would have at least mentioned it.
Mhm.
But he didn't. Maybe illustrating, that it wasn't prevalent It wasn't a major issue.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really around much. People believed that it was pretty rare within the Jewish community, at least the mainstream Jewish community, in the 12th century AD even. This is the earliest non-Karaite reference. Please tell me if I'm boring you. I'll move on, I promise. So the first non-Karaite reference, I'm going to quote it here. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yet I must say that I have found certain people, this is by a rabbi, by the way, who call themselves Jews. That's kind of a slam right there. Who call themselves Jews, professing the doctrine of, read this for me.
Metempsychosis.
Metempsychosis, which is designated by them as the theory of the transmigration, I think I might have spelled that wrong, of souls. I think it's transmitigation. What they mean thereby is that the spirit of Reuben is transferred to Simeon and afterwards to Levi and afterwards to Yehuda. And now when I say that, we're not talking about the children of Israel. We're talking, these are like generic names like Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That, in other words, it's talking about reincarnation. Many of them would even go so far as to assert that the spirit of a human being might enter into the body of a beast, or that of a beast into a body of a human being, or other such nonsense and stupidities.
Yeah.
So that's the view of a rabbi, a non-Karaite reference by a rabbi. That's the first indication of some contact with people who claimed to be Jews and believed in this reincarnation stuff. He believed it was nonsense and stupidities. Is everybody clear with that? I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have trouble with that? Yeah, it's very big with Kabbalists. Take notice that the conclusion of the sage, he declares the idea of reincarnation to be nonsense and stupid. Reincarnation has increasingly seeped into Judaism today, but it's not our belief in Messianic Judaism, for it is appointed for man once to die, and then the judgment. That's Hebrews 9:27, the book we're currently going through. And please understand this. It's notable and significant that the author felt no need to qualify or explain this statement about it being stupid or nonsense, which clearly refutes reincarnation. And the author here in Hebrews as well felt no need to go into depth to qualify his statement that it's once to die. In the book written called Pros Hebreos, or To the Hebrews, he didn't feel a need to explain it. Like, it's self-evident. Everybody knows you die once and it's over. No transmitigation. You with me? This suggests that the information is well known and obvious to the audience being the Hebrews of the 1st century AD. I hope that clears this up. Emmy says, Ken. Very good. Very good, Emmy. Conclusion, reincarnation is not inherent to Judaism. It didn't come from the Bible or from Judaism. Rather, like paganism, it seeped into the system, much like a virus. I hope everyone understands that. I'm merely noting that the Mashiach has existed since the very beginning. When I'm talking about the text where, is there any possibility of Melchizedek? It's very little, if any. I don't really believe it at all because of the language. But we do know Mashiach existed since the very beginning. You can look at Micah, Micah, chapter 5, and you can look at John Yochanan, chapter 1, for example. In the beginning was God, right? And the Word was with God, was God, etc. And Micah 5:2, right? That the king would come forth from the smallest of tribes, but it wasn't really his beginning. He is from ancient times, from long ago. Even though he hadn't been born yet. When Micah wrote that, he wasn't even born yet. But at the same time, he's from long ago. His origins are from long ago. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And like I said, many claim he appears in many texts, biblical texts, since then as well. All right. What about government interference? Because that's kind of big now. And leaders are dealing with this, and so are individuals like congregants of different congregations, right? They're thinking, what is this stuff about how the government is shutting down our congregation or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd kind of like to see what you guys think while I'm talking, but is it okay for the government of the United States or any government to shut down congregations? What do you think? Let's start with the United States. By
I think if it's for safety, I mean, they're trying to stop the spread of this. It's an unknown virus. There's no cure. There's no shot like you can get ahead of time, like a flu shot or a chickenpox shot or anything like that. They don't know how to cure it. They don't know, and it's spreading faster and faster and faster. And if you get one person in that building that's contagious, everybody's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Everybody's going to be exposed to it.
Contaminated?
Exposed to it. And now they're saying just talking to somebody, you can get it. Not just coughing, not sneezing, but just talking or laughing. Now they say it can come out.
Uh-oh. Stop laughing. Okay. Well, so we have to kind of define what we mean by is it okay? If we mean is it legal for them to do it, then we should hit that aspect of is it okay? Is it okay? Because the government is supposed to protect the people. That's one of the inherent responsibilities for any government is to protect the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
But also there are legal, and the government of the United States is founded upon what's called the Constitution, right? Shabbat Shalom, Joanne. And so in the Constitution, any law, let me say this, any law that contradicts the Constitution is by definition, what? Unconstitutional. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech. And it goes on, or of the press, or the people, of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So the fact is that this, the fact that this issue is the first one mentioned among all topics of the Constitution is highly significant. It's, of meaning religion. Mm-hmm. It's no accident that the founding fathers of our nation made this their first priority. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion. Now, millions have died in Europe at the hands of leaders who used religion as a tool to control the masses and who demanded complete obedience from all their subjects, including obedience in their minds. Study the 30 Years' War, if you don't know what I'm talking about, for details, and much more beyond. Thus, the government of the United States will not create a state church. Now, when I say this, I'm not speaking badly about these particular denominations so much as I'm just suggesting the idea of any particular branch, religious entity combined with the state, unless it's directly under God's leadership, is opening itself up to bad things. You know what I mean? And that happened with Rome, right? And it happened with others. For instance, King Henry started the Anglican Church under his authority. Mm-hmm. Lutherans in Germany right? You had to be a Lutheran. Um, Now, the United States is not going to do that. Not going to set up the Church of the United States and give it a new name. Does that make sense? That's what that's talking about.
Mhm.
This doesn't indicate that those same founding fathers were anti-religious or that they were ungodly. Far from it. As a matter of fact, it may surprise you to know if you. I don't know how many of you have been to Washington and you've seen the Senate on one side and the House of Representatives on the other, and you know there's this big building, this big round building in the middle. You know what that's called? Anyone? If anybody's still watching, right? I'm probably really boring today. I don't know. So it's called the Rotunda.
Mhm.
The Rotunda. Do you know what that building was created for?
No.
That was a church. And I think it was Jefferson, the guy talking about separation of church and state, that built the Rotunda as a church
Hmm.
for Congress to use. But see, it wasn't a specific, it wasn't like an Anglican church or a Lutheran church or whatever other label you want to put on it. But it was for these people in Congress to have a place to go